The digital world moves fast, but real growth comes from real conversations. This is e-Coffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to your show E-Coffee with Experts. This is your host Ranmay here. And today we have Justin Cook, who's the President of Internet Marketing and Development at Ninth Co with us. Hey Justin, how is it going?
Excellent. How are you doing?
Good. Can't really complain. Great, Justin. Before we move any forward, let's get to know more about you. And why don't you talk us through your journey a bit, and also how did you land up in the digital marketing sphere, and a bit about your agency Ninth Co. What about, what do you guys do? What do you guys specialize in? And we'll take it off from there.
Sounds good. So I had no intention of landing in the digital marketing sphere. I was actually a full stack developer, software and cybersecurity company. This is going back 2006-07 timeframe. And what I realized is there was this new thing called SEO. That's what agencies were calling, and they were selling these big SEO consulting packages. And I realized very quickly, sitting through a couple of them, that this is really just what I've been doing for years. I didn't know it was called SEO. So I was newly married at the time. I was able to convince my wife that to let me start a little business on the side. I was going to be a consultant. I was going to work from home.
You can only convince them when it is new, isn't it?
Yeah. And so I had this idea, and I was thinking, I'll keep my job. I'll start this business on the side. And hopefully after a year, basically what happened, within 3 months, I had enough clients that I quit my job and was just doing SEO consulting full time. It all changed. I had a reporter or journalist, I should say, from Canada's Financial Post, National Post, give me a call to interview me and ask me about this thing, search engine optimization, Google. And I got a full page article in the National Post, and the business started to grow. I took on a business partner, started hiring employees to do the work, and we became very quickly a small but nimble digital marketing agency. And then around the 2013 timeframe, we merged. We saw the need, as we were mostly doing SEO and a lot of paid media, what we call PPC, but we were getting into difficult situations where clients would have their own design and development agency, and we'd be butting heads a lot. So we made the decision to merge businesses with a web design agency to become full service. And that's actually where the name Ninth Co comes from as well. And from there, we landed a couple major, what we call Fortune 500 clients, and just sort of grew over time.
Lovely. And mergers are not easy. I mean, merger and acquisition can get trickier, right? I mean, we have been through quite a few. I mean, what were the unforeseen challenges that you have faced or you did face because of the merger? And how did you tackle them?
That I could talk about for hours. Yeah, there are challenges so navigating how to stitch together two different brands, two different styles of management, two different teams. It helps if, basically, at the end of the day, if the merging of the leadership is in sync and in harmony, the rest follows. Buy into the story. Employees are willing to make sacrifices to work together. It just requires that harmony for sure at the leadership level. Inevitably, and this is expected, if you're, in the concept of a merger, there's this perception that, this company's getting bigger. So typically you're going to lose smaller clients in the process, and which is fine, because now as a larger merged entity, you can go after larger clients as well.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, your bandwidth also kind of then increases, and you kind of get more diversified in terms of your offerings, your service portfolio. So that helps. Yeah. And then, talking about, following up on that, a merger growth kind of, comes hand in hand. Obviously, it can get tricky, but obviously you have found a way out of it. So many agency owners kind of hit a plateau after a certain level of growth, right? So what strategies have helped you kind of break through those plateaus?
The biggest shift we made was moving away from hunter-gatherer mindset of like, okay, let's land this project, and while we're doing that project, let's move on to the next project. And you're always in this cyclical, you're always in a feeling of desperation.
Yeah.
Because looking at cash flow, you need to fill the pipeline with projects for, and it's a little bit chaotic and a little bit psychotic. So we really switched to what is called an accretive model, where yes, we take on that initial project. So that could be an audit, it could be an implementation, a migration. And our goal is to attach ourselves to our clients, let them see just how capable our team is, how, what's the word I'm looking for? Competent. We really try to get our clients to understand the competence of our team. And we really try to be easy to do business with, because then what naturally happens is after that initial project, we then transition to an ongoing retainer. And ongoing retainers are so much calmer. You can plan 6 months out, 18 months out, and you can really plan how to grow your agency accounts and where to expand it, whether it's your geographical markets, your service offerings. So switching to an accretive model has completely changed the way we run our business. The bottom line is we could literally scale to hundreds of employees at this point because we have the processes in place to do so.
I'm sure. Talking about headless composable architecture, yeah. So what initially drew your attention towards that, and what potential did you see in it for the Ninth Coast clients? I mean, your agency's clients.
Well, what initially drew my attention to it was simply that it was new and exciting. And as a former web developer and a technologist, my brain naturally gravitates towards what is the newest thing in technology. So it was kind of fun at the time. But really, what was happening, I mean, if you think of the web development industry in general, we've been working with monolithic platforms. Think of WordPress, Drupal, Magento, Shopify.
Yeah.
We've been working with these platforms for well over a decade because they were really great when they came along. They enabled us to build large scale web applications, websites, e-commerce platforms much more rapidly than when we did things in a more manual way. However, what was happening, we were getting constantly frustrated. I'll use that word frustrated. Think of it, so you're a technical SEO team and you're hired to fully optimize your client's website, and you're running things like Lighthouse and PageSpeed, Core Web Vitals, and you're like, okay, we need to fix these 18 things, and you're pushing the dev team as hard as you can, and best you can get to is an 80 out of 100 performance score, and the client's happy with that. When we started to experiment with Headless and we did our deploys and ran our tests, and we were getting 98, 99, 100 out of 100 on performance scores. First of all, that was incredible. But on top of it, they're globally distributed because they run from a CDN. They're statically generated, so there's no attachment to data, meaning they're unhackable. There's nothing to hack. So when we started to put those pieces together and realize the implications that Headless really is just a tech thing, but the implications to business, where it's virtually unhackable, global web presence that is 100% optimized, it was like explosions going off in my brain, and I realized this is where we're completely retooling Ninth Co. Yes, we have our technical SEO roots. That's what we were always great at. But we are going after Headless in a big way because the market needs to go there.
Absolutely. And talking about explosion, what is your general take on this AI explosion? I know it has been there for quite some time now, but with all the changes that is happening and gaining more momentum by the day, where do you think are we heading with all this AI and machine learning now? In fact, no one talks about machine learning, come to think of it.
Yeah, true.
Anymore, all right?
I think with any shiny new thing, it's a little bit overvalued and due for correction, which is fine. There's a little bit of excitement because, so here's the thing, when we've been working with data for decades, and we've always seen the ability to take structured and unstructured data and find ways to put it together to produce new things. I mean, at its core, that's what AI is doing. And I believe why the hype is there is it is now publicly accessible. If you couldn't tell the public to learn to write SQL statements 10 years ago. That's just not going to happen. So fast forward to 2025, where people can just type in a prompt in their mother tongue into any sort of agentic model. It's accessible, which is why it's so exciting. To me, as a technologist, I see it as the shift from hand tools, so like hammer and a saw, to power tools. And if I was going to build a fence around my house and someone showed up with a handsaw and a hammer, I'd be like, no, let's hire the guys with the power tools because they can build it in like 20% of the time.
Yeah.
That's what I believe it is for our team. It's enabling us to build things much faster. A web application that would have taken a year to build may now take 4 months to build. So that's great. But where I see a major chasm and what I would call opportunity is in this advent of like vibe coding, where you can have a junior developer with the assistance of an AI co-pilot and they're producing production code. That's terrifying. But to me, it means it's a lot of opportunity in companies that have attempted to build something and it's broken, it's not secure, it's not accessible. And then for us as an agency, that's just a lot of opportunity to fix those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned about it being an enabler, to us humans or, techies or whatever domain that we are all are in, and not really the final product there, at least as yet, right? And I'm a very firm believer in this, that it's not going to replace, humans for sure. If we are tech savvy and if we are kind of potent in terms of using the platform. So good point there. Perfect, Justin. Give us your favorite client story. You must have dealt with quite a few, 2006, 2025, now long time, a lot of clients. So give us your favorite client story there.
My favorite client story, I would say my most impactful, most unbelievable client story. I can't say their name. We never had
Working with ghosts?
yeah, we never got that clause signed off in our agreement that we could use their name. But let's just say they're one of the largest stock exchanges in the world. And that we'll leave it at that. So
Which is?
we can't say
No
their
worry,
name.
just kidding. All right.
They also happen to be in New York.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we had a really great client that we were doing a fantastic campaign for, and we get the news that this client has been acquired. Typical way that we were expecting to now lose that client because they've been acquired by a larger entity. And sure enough, that larger entity, which is a stock exchange, says, thank you, we're now taking this work in-house. We met with them to go over the campaigns that we were running, SEO, paid media, lead generation, also a lot of landing page, A/B testing and personalization. And we just basically said, if you're taking this in-house, please don't mess with these things. These are important. This is, a sales pipeline. And then a few weeks later, we get an email from someone at the stock exchange and just said, we were really impressed with what you guys did. We'd like to know if you could come back to New York. We'd really like to see what your agency can do for us. We were like, well, what do you mean? Can we get on a call here? Like, you mean like keep doing what we were doing for this company you just acquired? Like, no, all of our services.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was all hands on deck, dropped everything. We put together I think it was like a 130-page proposal with all of their products, services, target audiences, geographies, and a micro strategy for each one. This one should be SEO. These are the keywords. This should be an awareness campaign, and we should be using, display and programmatic. We should do a YouTube campaign. So we basically put together a playbook for everything. And we flew back down to New York, and we're sitting in what you would expect for a Wall Street boardroom, big, long wooden table. And the CMO is flipping through our proposal, not even paying attention to us, which is terrible in a sales presentation. You hate, right? But he's not even looking at us. He gets to the end of the proposal, turns to his cohorts. He's like, why am I just seeing this now? I've been asking for this for 2 years, and I'm just seeing this now.
Wow.
And we were silent. They let go of 3 large New York agencies and consolidated all of their digital marketing, SEO, paid media analytics with us. And we just became their digital agency of record for about 5 years before the pandemic. So that was, and that moment, that experience was so riveting. I was genuinely speechless for the rest of the day. Like, we walked out of that tower, that just happened. Like, it was just so electrifying. It was incredible.
Lovely, lovely. Must have been, once in a lifetime experience. Obviously, you'll get more, but, at that point, this must have been really, really satisfying, right?
That's a very good word for it. Satisfying. You felt very accomplished.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, as a business owner, as an agency, you talk about revenue and all of that, which is fine. But, to get something like that onboarded, that is very, very satisfying in the sense that, this is why we do what we do, sort of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Great, Justin. This has been a fantastic conversation. But before we let you go, a quick rapid fire. All right. Your last Google search.
Probably related to the 7-day weather forecast. That would be yeah.
All right. Where do we find you on Friday evenings after office or work?
Well, this is gonna give you a little insight into my personal life. Here in Canada, ice hockey is a big thing. So my Friday night thing was, hey guys, I gotta go home and watch the kids. My wife is going to play ice hockey. So yeah, that's my Friday nights.
All right. Okay. What did you do with your first paycheck, Justin? First paycheck of your life?
That I put a healthy chunk of it into my savings because I was dating a girl that I intended to marry, wanted to be able to afford a ring. So yeah, I saved a good amount, and maybe the rest I might have treated myself to lunch and some new clothes.
All right. The next one. Did you marry her?
I did. We're still married 22 years later.
Lovely, lovely.
And 3 kids. 3 kids.
Yeah, we did speak about it. 3 boys. Perfect. Lovely, Justin. You have been a sport. Thank you so much for taking out time to do this with us. Really, really appreciate it. And for our audiences, if they want to reach out to you, how would they do that?
LinkedIn is great. You could, or you can hit me at my short code email. It's just jc@ninthco.com.
Okay.
But I'm pretty constantly on LinkedIn, so hit me up there.
All right. Thank you, Justin. Cheers, man.
Thank you. Take care.